Oh, do I know how some of you work? It's panic time. It's gonna be all over. We're never gonna be able to win anything. Listen, I'm not happy about it. I'm not thrilled about it. It's truly disappointing, and it really is embarrassing to get blown out against the Dallas Mavericks, and they were banged up. They don't have Luka. They don't have their top guy. We also don't have Joel Embiid, and we also don't have Jimmy Butler. I don't want to sit here and say that that's an excuse. We should not get blown out by 20. We should not get destroyed on the road. But there's a combination of a lot of things that occurred in this game for this to happen. I'm not saying it's okay, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and cry about it and say we can never do anything again. Here's the combination. Personnel. Okay, when Jonah Bolden is playing the minutes that Joel Embiid gets and gives you 0 of 4 from 3 and 2 points, that's a huge, ginormous difference from the 30-plus and 10-plus that Joel Embiid gives you. James Ennis is the starting 2-guard, where Jimmy Butler normally would play. 4 points. Two totally different players, and that changes absolutely everything. So let's not just be insanely pissed off and freak out about things. I'm upset about it, yeah, but I also have reality in mind. I also know that Jonah Bolden and James Ennis giving you the same minutes that Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler give you, I know that that is such a game changer in everything. So the personnel is one. The inability to just knock down shots. We shot 6 of 33 from 3, and that's 18.2%. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. So the inability to make shots. At one point, Tobias and Mike Scott in the second half in the back there were just tossing up, jacking up things, and they weren't falling. And it wasn't like they weren't open. They just weren't falling. So personnel, inability to knock shots, and the emotionless factor, and that's not really on the Sixers. That's on real life. It's the back end of this damn season. Everyone knows what we're shooting for. No Joel Embiid, no Jimmy Butler, and you're going into a Dallas Mavericks squad without Luka Doncic in a building that's really, It's not their fault that it was emotionless. The game was just set up emotionless because of the fact that the season's winding down. I'm not happy. I hated watching it. It made my eyes bleed. But I also know that we had bench guys, our weak bench, playing minutes over Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler. 2 stars in this league. And one's the best center in the league. And that has to be noticed. You have to put that in account. It just has to happen. It just has to happen. Our defense was there. Where we lost the game was the second quarter. A 41-18 differential in points scored. There was a 26-8 run, an 8+ minute drought for the Sixers, who couldn't score, and which bled into the third quarter, actually, which made it over 10 minutes. And I could take a look at that and say, yeah, it's a little concerning that in another game you went over 10+ minutes, because there was a game a few games back where it was 12 minutes, but imagine if Joel Embiid was there. Do you really think that we would just be jacking up threes around the perimeter with Mike Scott, Tobias Harris, and James Ennis and Jonah Bolden? Or do you think if we weren't getting points, we would have gave it to Joel Embiid down low on the block and he would go to work or get fouled or put it in the basket? He would do something. I can't stop stressing how important that difference is of Jonah Bolden and James Ennis compared to Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler. It's going to be fine. I've made this statement after other games, and I'm going to make it again. This game won't relate or correlate whatsoever to what happens in the playoffs. It just won't. It will not happen whatsoever. Anything that happened today, nothing of it will have to do with what occurs in the playoffs with Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler in the lineup. It just won't. That's a fact. I'm guaranteeing it. So, listen, I'm not going to cry about it, but that doesn't mean I'm not upset with the effort. You know, this is a game where I would like to see Ben Simmons step up and do something. Take shots, shoot jumpers, be a little bit more aggressive. play a different style to just kind of get some confidence with it. But we didn't see really any of that. His stat line finished 17, 7, and 5, and 5 of 15 from shooting. You know, I would have liked to see a little bit more out of that. You have Justin Jackson on the other squad. What is this, a UNC Duke College game? He was scoring all of his points. Brunson out there. Boban was getting torched by their bench. Sala. JJ was hot in the first half, but he died down after that big time. But he finished the day with the most amount of points with 26. Tobias had 25, but he kind of struggled there, pulling up from 3 and not making anything. It's pretty simple to me on what happened here. It was an emotionless basketball game. We weren't able to knock down shots, and we have 2 stars missing from the lineup. And I know it's not an excuse to get blown out by 20 to the Dallas Mavericks and have that type of second quarter happen and to have that type of drought happen right before half. I get all that. But I also understand that this is the back end here with a team that is ready to just go play in playoffs, and you're heading into a game in Dallas without their star, and you're missing 2 stars, and they just went out there and they went through the motions. That's reality, and it is what it is. It will not relate or correlate to what happens in the playoffs in a mentality mode with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, JJ Redick, and a limited bench. It just isn't going to be the same. And it's pretty simple to me. And I know that there's going to be fans that are ready to freak out and get all pissed off and say, we can't beat bad teams. Like, okay. I mean, fine. If that's the way you want to look at it, by all means, you can go ahead and look at it that way, and it won't affect me anyway. How you don't factor in what the difference of Jonah Bolden and Joel Embiid is, or how you don't factor in James Ennis to Jimmy Butler in the starting lineup. And I will clarify once again, I'm not saying it's okay to have this effort, but that's what it is. I mean, that's what it is. We beat the Timberwolves without Joel Embiid, and we were all happy then. We won the game before that. We were all happy then. We throw up a stinker. I get it. It's the back end right before playoffs. Everyone wants everything to be all smooth, great, and dandy, unicorns and ice cream and all that. But it's not when you're resting your stars. It's not going to be that way when you have to throw our limited bench in the starting role minutes, the bench that we complain about all season long in the starting role minutes, and expect it to just be all perfect. Well, that's silly. That's silly. I'm still upset about it, but it's silly. And I have a realistic mindset on it too. We have a back-to-back situation coming up. We go to Atlanta. Remember what happened last time against Atlanta with our guys? Trae Young happened. Now that can't happen again. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday. We have an off day tomorrow. Wednesday we have a game. With a back-to-back on top of it, Thursday, I believe we have the Bucks. Let me just verify, but I'm pretty positive that is the Bucks game, not Thursday. Yeah, it is. Okay. At home. So, we got to be ready. Got to be ready. And in regards to Joel Embiid playing in that game, that's when he's going to get reassessed after this little 3-game road trip that we had. So we'll see if he's going to be going. It's fine with me, though. People are freaking out. Oh, my God, the Celtics won tonight. And, okay, cool. They beat the Heat. And they also lost to the Brooklyn Nets. Relax. It's as simple as that. Relax. Once we start the playoffs and we start winning games and you see us in the first series, everyone's going to be all happy again and no one's going to say, remember what happened against the Dallas Mavericks? Or remember what happened in the last 5 games of the season? We're not going to be saying that. Not against these teams. Not against the Dallas Mavericks when you don't have Embiid and Jimmy Butler in the mix. If you think this team that played tonight is going to have that type of energy when we play in the playoffs, come on. Come on. That's my mindset on it. This doesn't scare me. Seeing this, it doesn't really scare me. Does it make me upset? Sure. I'm not smiling, watching the game happy. But I can assess the situation using logic and knowing that Jonah Bolden and Embiid are... I can't even put it into separation here for you to see me on the screen. I know the difference between them. I know the difference between James Ennis and Jimmy Butler. It's obvious. But hey, this is Brett Brown's fault. I'm sure it's coming. This is Brett Brown's fault. He's the reason. But that win against Minnesota without Joel Embiid, no one. That's just the players. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you next time. I just know what's coming. I'll see you next time.